All right, so we're moving on to item number 8, and at this point, this is to initiate disciplinary action / censure hearing regarding Director Scherzer.
Before you read the letter, since this may be a new process, if you'd like me to read the provisions that are in the Code of Ethics that talk about this process. It is a two-step process, just so that people are clear on the process and how it may be handled before you read the letter, if that's the pleasure.
That sounds fine.
The President, and I'll be brief.
It says the failure of a director to comply with the provisions of the Code of Ethics shall constitute grounds for disciplinary action against him / her. A majority of the board may place a disciplinary action hearing on the board agenda. In taking such action, the board shall identify the director or directors involved and describe the conduct and or facts constituting the alleged Code of Ethics violation. The director who is subject of an alleged Code of Ethics violation shall be ineligible to vote on any matter related to a disciplinary action, including but not limited to agendizing the hearing and adopting a resolution of censure. A director who is the subject of an alleged Code of Ethics violation shall be provided with written notice of the disciplinary action hearing and the grounds for the proposed action. The notice shall be prepared by district staff and reviewed by legal counsel. At the disciplinary action hearing, the director shall have the opportunity to be heard concerning the allegations. The director may submit a written response to the allegation in addition to or in lieu of speaking at the disciplinary action hearing, if he / she so chooses. If at the close of the hearing, the district board finds that the director's conduct does not comply with the district's ethics standards, the district board may direct staff to prepare a resolution of censure, which may include the imposition of sanctions against the director as a majority of the board deems appropriate. Such sanctions may include loss of seniority, removal from a committee, restrictions on district-related travel privileges, and attendance at special training classes. At the next district board meeting, the board may consider and adopt the resolution of censure, including any sanctions imposed by the board. An adopted resolution of censure shall be published in a newspaper of general circulation in the district within 15 days of adoption. A violation of this Code of Ethics shall not be considered a basis for challenging the validity of a board decision. So you can see it's a multi-fold process.
So tonight, you're only going to be voting. We don't need to have a lot of discussion or comments about the letter, but we can do that at the next process if that's appropriate. Okay. So to General Manager Lee Hawkins, Legal Counsel Mala Subramanian, and fellow board members, I have requested that the board consider for approval moving forward with disciplinary action against Dennis Scherzer for the following reasons. Since Director Scherzer's return to the board in 2009, his behavior has become increasingly consistent with that of a playground bully. His behavior towards staff, fellow board members, Mr. Hawkins and Ms. Subramanian, is becoming increasingly more disrespectful, antagonistic, demanding, condescending, and bordering on instability. In addition, he refuses to follow protocol and has missed numerous committee meetings, both of which are violations of Code of Ethics and Board of Directors Handbook and Policy. I have listed the specifics below. For protocol, on numerous occasions, Director Scherzer has contacted legal counsel instead of going through the general manager, Mr. Hawkins, for his request. He has sent numerous emails which often have demanding and condescending tones to Ms. Subramanian, Mr. Hawkins, and to me. When he has contacted the district office, he has used the same patronizing tone towards staff when demanding information and documents without first going through Mr. Hawkins. Number 2, Director Scherzer has a practice of missing committee meetings, possibly 7, specifically facilities and intergovernmental, since being assigned in January of 2010 and January 2011. For each absence, Director Scherzer never informed the other committee member or the staff that he would not be in attendance. This issue of his absentees was addressed directly to Director Scherzer, yet he continued to be a no-show, which was a considerable waste of everyone's time, especially when collaborators have been invited to the meeting. As recently as June, Director Scherzer did not attend the City Council meeting with Director Yanez when the board had directed them both to attend. An example of a violation: in one email, Director Scherzer accused Ms. Subramanian, Mr. Hawkins, and me of violating the Brown Act by having serial email meetings regarding the overpayment issue. Yet Director Scherzer initiated such violation when he contacted Director Yanez specifically about the overpayment issue. The lawyer and I drafted a response to his behavior in an email stating that he had created the very problem for which he was accusing others. These are violations of the Code of Ethics and Board Director's Handbook policy. More importantly, he refuses to follow protocol even when legal counsel, general manager, and the board president have directed him numerous times to do so. So I want to address his behavior. Director Scherzer's behavior has consistently been rude, demanding, disrespectful, and bordering on instability, compounded by the sense of entitlement far exceeding his role as board member. He has been especially rude to Mala Subramanian, the district lawyer, and Mr. Hawkins, the general manager, because his actions show he doesn't respect their roles or their authority. His behavior became increasingly agitated and demanding regarding the overpayment issue. The lawyer and I told Director Scherzer 4 times that he would learn of the decision regarding the overpayment issue at the same time as the other board members. In one of my responses to him, I informed Director Scherzer that he was one of 5 board members, that the board operates on a consensus process, that no one in this district reports to him, and that Mr. Hawkins reports to the entire board, not to him. And still his behavior did not change. An example of his inappropriate behavior towards a board member occurred before the last board meeting. Director Scherzer approached Mr. Hawkins while I was meeting with him, demanding that he be given a paper packet of the night's agenda. Mr. Hawkins informed him that the board had passed a vote to go paperless and he wasn't comfortable going against a ruling made by the board. Mr. Hawkins went on to remind Director Scherzer that he had chosen not to get the iPad, but preferred instead that the district pay his internet service so that he could receive his board packet via that medium. Director Scherzer then asked me to support him on his request, to which I responded no. And I also reminded him of his choice to use the internet, not an iPad, that the district was paying for his internet service, and he was expected to open the packet and read it in preparation for the meeting or print his own copy before coming to the meeting. When he began to raise his voice, I asked him to lower his voice, and Director Scherzer proceeded to mock the request by speaking in a whisper, getting closer to me with the response, "If you make it hard on me, I'm going to make it hard on you." His statement and behavior borders on threatening, demonstrates a tit-for-tat way of thinking that is consistent with behavior of a bully, and directly contradicts his own decision to receive his board packet via email. In conclusion, in March of 2003, Director Scherzer was terminated from his position as general manager at this district, and since that time, the subsequent boards had the charge to clean up the district near bankruptcy, resolve legal issues, improve staff benefits, update policy, develop a financial plan to regain the district's fiscal strength, and create a transparent, stable sanitary district. All of this and much more was done in his absence 6 years from the district, giving the district room to grow and thrive. It is unfortunate that Director Scherzer's behaviors and actions demonstrate he lacks the ability to be a team player, that his behavior has demonstrated that he only knows how to function in a maladaptive way, that his behavior should suggest patterns of conflictual relationships and poor coping skills for his frustrations. The East Palo Alto Sanitary District cannot solve those personal issues of Director Scherzer. That he must do. But we, as dedicated, balanced, and committed board members, can vote for moving forward with the disciplinary action of censure against Director Scherzer to reinforce that there is no room for this type of behavior as a board member, that his previous history with this district does not grant him extra privileges or special treatment, and that he must improve his behavior and he must follow protocol, or he will continue to face disciplinary action. Thank you. I know that was a bit long, but I thought it was important to be thorough from the beginning.
I wrote a letter to the board after you agendize this matter, suggesting conflict resolution, suggesting another approach to this, and I've not received any response. These matters that you talk about that have been going on for years and allegedly are bothersome to people, this is the first mention of it. So there's not been any opportunity for me to understand other people's uncomfortability or displeasure and take the opportunity to do something about it. This is the first time it's ever been communicated. So I'm requesting that the board wait on censure. There's not much gets accomplished by censure. I've been through 3 of them on this board, various board members, and it just exacerbates the situation. And I feel that the calm and reasonable approach is to use what we have available to us. We have Dr. Jackson who can do the conflict resolution, and we try that first before we go this other route. And it's before we commit funds and time and everything for the censure.
So, through the chair, let me see if I understand the process. So, this vote is just really to have this discussion about censure. This is not a censure vote. So really, it allows you to reach word and do other things as well. Is that correct?
Well, from my understanding, it's a discussion of whether to go forward with the censure process or not.
But the censure process is an exploratory process, if I understand.
This can all be resolved without going to censure, but it can all be resolved. And I think we should try that. Because you've got a 2-week time period for a response. This is basically a tribunal type of thing. You've got a 2-week window, and that's way too soon. So this will be done correctly.
Through the chair, I think I'm going to be very objective in this process, but I think we should move this process forward. And I will be listening to the discussions with a very open mind in the next meeting.
Well,
So,
will you require documentation of the allegations?
I didn't get a second for the
I
motion.
second.
Oh, you second, okay. So.
Will you be requiring documentation of these allegations?
I just think this is an exploratory process.
Will you be requiring documentation of the allegations?
Well, I hear witnesses.
Will you be requiring documentation of the allegations?
I think you
In
have
addition to
witnesses.
witnesses,
Excuse me, I said that all this was supposed to be about deciding on whether we move forward with the vote. There's a motion on the table that's been seconded. And I would like to do a roll call that asks for whether we move forward with the vote. Mr. Hawkins, do the roll
the
call.
motion is to move forward with the censure
Mr. Hawkins, would
process.
you please do the roll call, please?
Through the chair, I'm going to make a statement for the record that I'm going to read this letter that I wrote on August 7th, fellow board members. Yesterday, the board president, Sykes Maese, expressed an intention to agendize a censure hearing related to me. I'm not fully clear as to what President Sykes Maese's concerns are for proposing a censure. Censure proceedings take time and energy away from our agenda at a time when the focus and attention of our entire board is required to move important items forward, including the management transition, financial master plan, and groundwater infiltration, among others. I suggest conflict resolution through a board workshop conducted by Dr. Jackson, who is retained by the district to provide coaching and advice on these issues prior to any consideration of censure. Such a session could also be conducted with myself and either or Mr. Hawkins and Ms. Sykes Maese. I'm confident that whatever the issues are, they can be successfully resolved by this process. And thank you for your time and consideration on the matter. And I'm going to be voting no on this simply because of that, because all directors should be afforded the opportunity
Roll
to
call,
work these
please.
problems
Thank you.
out.
Director Savage.
Just wanted to clarify
Yes.
that the Director Scherzer for the code is ineligible to vote on this matter.
Okay.
Director Savage?
Yes.
Yeah. Director Mitchell?
Yes.
Director Macy?
Yes,
Director Yanis?
Yes.
so the motion has passed for moving forward with the censuring against Director Scherzer.
Madam Chair, I make one couple.
I mean, the motion is to have a censure hearing and not a censure. Could we be so?
I I think legal counsel knows the process.
But, is it a motion to have a
The
censure
motion is to
hearing?
have the censure hearing regarding Director Scherzer.
Right.
Okay, just,
Okay.
I just sounded like someone had precluded censure there, I wanted to get
Well, that may
clarification.
So, Director Savage, did you have a comment?
No, I was just going to ask whether or not it would be prudent to have a special board meeting on the hearings. On the hearing.
On the hearing?
On the censorship hearing. Because we don't know how long that's gonna go.
Well, we do have this meeting coming up for the 20th, and this is the reschedule of our regular board meeting. And that puts us at 3 weeks from today. And I think it just depends on people's schedule, and I know we talked about that. And I
Right.
think it had a lot to do with the timing, and I'm not sure if are we held to doing 2 weeks later, or is that just the next board meeting? Okay. So what is the pleasure of the board? Are you suggesting having a separate hearing for a separate special meeting for that?
I am, because we have no idea how long that's gonna go.
Okay. So what is the pleasure of the
I don't know
board?
how long it's gonna take to bring together the information, but,
That's true.
I think that we might want to have a special board meeting for the hearing, and then we can maintain our agenda for the September 20th meeting as it stands.
Okay. So you're talking about a special board meeting between now and the 20th?
Yes.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the board on that? You agree with that?
For the hearing?
I think the timing may be too quick.
That's
Yeah.
way too quick.
Yeah, I
That's
think
way
if you
too
wanna do
quick.
a special meeting, it would be after the 20th, but not before.
Okay.
That's way too quick.
That's fine, but, I just think that we might wanna look at separating that.
Okay. Do we like to come up with tentative dates at this time? If we stick to Thursday, it would be September 27th, or any other day, the week of the September 24th would be a possibility.
I'm open to any one of those.
Okay, Molly, you're not available for any of those?
Not the 24th, but
Or like 26, 27.
The 27th? Okay, she's available. What about directors? Is everybody okay with September 27th?
I'm okay.
Okay. All right, so the suggestion is that we have the censure hearing at a separate special meeting, which would be right now tentatively scheduled for September 27th at 7 p.m.
Yes.
All right, so that's the next step, all right, thank you.
You wanna go ahead and vote on that?
Oh, yes, so
Is that
we,
appropriate?
do we vote on this? Okay, so would you do a roll call, please? I move that we have taken Director Savage's suggestion, I move that we have a special meetings for the censure hearing on September 27th at 7 p.m.
I'll second it.
Okay?
Director Savage,
Yes.
Director Mitchell,
Yes.
Director Scherzer,
No, I think I can vote on this.
okay.
Take a vote.
Director Miesi,
Yes.
Director Jens.
Yes?
All right, so that's passed, and then the meeting specifically for the censure hearing will be September 27th. Okay.
At 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. All right.